All right, we are live. Welcome, Peter, or as you call yourself nowadays, Pedro.
Everybody else does, so I just kind of join in.
Yeah. uh, how do Where did that name come from? Was that Sivan or who?
Yeah, Savan. About this time last year, I don't know why. I think it was because I was in Europe, so it's just like he was like, "Oh, that's a more European sounding name," so he just started calling me that. Could be that. Could be that he forgot what my actual name was. You wouldn't know. But yeah, I answer to whatever though. Really, I'm not that choosy.
I understand. I mean, you're in Norway, right?
Yeah, just like now, I don't live here or anything. I'm here. I came over yesterday to cover, just to vlog really on CrossFit Oslo, and I arrived yesterday at like 5 p.m. or 6 p.m. and then I'll go home tomorrow morning. I have to leave at like 6 a.m.
All
So
right.
like 24 hours. But I got the authentic Scandinavian experience. I got snow. I got numb fingers. I got dark. I got wet feet. Seems like it's what it's supposed to be like.
Yeah. I mean, the darkness kind of. It's a bit. I think it's switching now. So the further north you go, the more
Oh,
light you have
it
during
is
the day.
crazy. Elvin was telling me yesterday that the town that he lives in or is from originally, in December, there's zero daylight. And then from April to September, there's zero darkness. And I was like, what? Like, it's
Yeah.
mind blowing. I think I knew it was like that in like Iceland, but I didn't know it was
Yeah.
like that anywhere else. But it must just fuck with your sleep so much having,
It does.
I guess you get used to it, but like having no darkness, no like natural rhythm to the day must just like mess with your head for the first like couple of weeks.
Yeah. I mean, we have I actually live pretty far north up in Sweden. So I live in a town called Umeå. It's not, it never gets like, it's not never completely dark during the winter or
Yeah.
completely light during the summer. But I think from like 11 p.m. to 3 a.m. is dark during the summer. So we have to have blinders and we have to have, like make the bedroom at least super dark during the summer.
Yeah, it's crazy. I don't know. I don't think I'd be able to stick that. I'm already like we were already struggling last week with my daughter like waking up in the morning at like whatever 6 a.m. and we're like, no, it's not morning time yet. Like, go back to bed for another while. She's like, but it's bright outside. Like, we're already at that stage. So having that for
Yeah.
like 4 months would not be good.
No, yeah, I understand. You have 2 kids, right? Or one on the way?
Two and another on the way. Yeah, we've our baby number 3 is due in like 5 weeks, 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And we have a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old. So
All right.
it'd be busy.
So, yeah, I can understand that.
Yeah.
But you work as well. You don't only do the coffee pods and wads.
No,
Right.
yeah, I'm a teacher. So I teach this year. I teach like 8 and 9-year-olds.
All right.
Like we call them third class. I don't know what they are in Sweden, but like like 8, 9-year-olds. And they're great. I have a nice class this year. They're easy. Like they're, the school I teach in is kind of be like a lower income kind of area or like clientele. So like historically there would have been a lot of fighting, a lot of like that kind of stuff. But now it's more kind of calmed down a little bit the last few years. And the class I have this year, like they're pretty nice, pretty chill. Like they're quite easy going compared to other classes I've had in the past.
Nice to hear. Yeah, I actually studied to become a teacher as well how do you say that in English? Like high school kids and 7th to 9th grade, we call them here in Sweden. So 13 to 18 or 19 years old, basically.
And have you worked at that?
I currently work at not a high school, like between 13 and 15-year-old kids I work with right now.
I don't think I could do that age group. I think I'd find it too hard. Like
I enjoy it, actually.
That's the age where they could potentially tell you to go fuck yourself, and I don't think I could handle that. Like not being able to say it back.
They do, and you have to like work around it sometimes and stay calm. It's not easy.
Yeah, no, I don't think I could do that. No, I prefer the kids that are like, you know, yes, teacher, that kind of kind of attitude. Yeah.
Do you coach anything as well? Like
CrossFit? No. I'm trying to get. I started doing that CrossFit educators course before the Easter holidays. Like we have 2 weeks off. Well, this is the end of the 2 weeks off work, and it actually transpires I'm way more productive with this kind of stuff when I'm at work, because my day has structure and I'm able to get stuff done. So like usually when I finish work, I've got like 45 minutes maybe before I go and collect my kids. So I do a lot of my stuff on my lunch break. I like edit stuff, and then when the class kids go home before I collect my kids, I have about 45 minutes, so I do more. And then when I go home, it's pretty full on with the kids until they go to bed at like 7, and then from 7 till like 9 I try and get more stuff done. So I haven't done fuck all since I got my holidays, because the kids are around like all the time. So it's hard to find time to do stuff. And then when the kids are gone to bed, we're just exhausted. So it's just like, I just don't want to do anything. Once I get that course done, my plan is to maybe do like a free class in school with the kids in school, and then see where it goes. I'm hoping to, in September, take like kind of a job share thing. So it mean I work a week, don't work a week, work a week, don't work a week. And I'll half my pay, but half my work as well. So it'll give me more time to do this kind of stuff. And then I'm hoping, I did my level 1 recently, so I'm hoping that I might maybe start dipping into coaching just like even once a week, just to see what it's like, if I'm good at it, like, and then if it's something that I want to explore more of.
Yeah, nice. I mean, I coach a little bit, so I like it. And it's interesting. You mentioned you might want to do like a free class thing at school. How would that look like for like sort of CrossFit kids? Or
I think I don't actually know what it would look like, because I probably couldn't call it that, like legally. I don't know. I'd probably try. My aim would be to basically use that the CrossFit educators course to come up with some kind of a, 30-minute, 40-minute little class, do it once a week, maybe twice a week, once with the senior end, once with the junior end, do it after school. And then, hopefully some of them might like it. And if they like it, then I can say, hey, there's a CrossFit gym, like, 1 mile that way if you want to go. And then just like, I don't know, I found every year when I'm teaching kids and I watch them move, and I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, you should not be moving like that. Like you're at that age where you're supposed to still be moving really well. Like I'm supposed to be jealous of how you sit down and stand up and like, squat and whatever. And it's like, they've just already lost it, and they're only like 7 or 8. So I think the earlier we can kind of fix that, the less problems they'll have to fix when they actually develop their own interest in it and find it organically. And if we can kind of show it to them, like I'm doing 100 burpees a day, and I started doing it just every so often with the kids. And now I've noticed that the kids in class are like, hey, can we do burpees today? Or like, oh, can we, they're starting to get interested in it. Now some of them are like, no, like as soon as the other person says it, but the fact that 1 or 2 are keen to do it shows that like they're just sponges. They just want to they want to move and do things and learn new things and stuff. So I think like getting them started at CrossFit or any kind of movement when they're younger is good.
Yeah. Did you see this comment by Jakob?
He
watches all the videos, so he knows a lot.
Yeah. He's a fucking unbelievable coach. Like he's so good. Like I follow his programming, and I was with him in Miami. I did like he put on like two classes in Miami at Wadapalooza, and I knew he was good because like on Sentinel you can see the notes, like, and he writes like every day, every workout there's like an essay, like 300-400 words, like here's the intent, here's the stimulus, here's what you should be, you know, like looking to do, pacing, etc. Here's what you could swap in if you can't do these movements. Here what you can swap in if you don't have these machines or whatever. So I knew he was good. I knew he cared, and I've heard him talk about CrossFit. I knew he cared a lot. I knew he was passionate. But he's such a fucking good coach. Like in person in Miami, I was blown away by how well he commands a room of like 30 people, how well he like communicates, how well he engages with the different people, and like he didn't miss anything. Actually, on one of the days I think there was 60 people, like it was like pairs, but there was a shit ton of pairs, and he said something to everyone, and it was a coaching cue, like to everyone. He's like, that guy's a genius. Like he doesn't get enough, because he's like funny and loud and abrasive and like doesn't hold back. He doesn't get the respect he deserves, I think, as a programmer and a coach. But even when you hear him talk on Shut Up and Scribble, and he like dissects programming and stuff, like he's real smart.
Yeah.
But no, he wouldn't be allowed into a fucking kids class. I wouldn't trust him near anyone's kids.
I understand that. I would like to go back to the CrossFit Oslo part, because you're there and you're talking like with Joachim and with Christine, I guess, and like you're doing some kind of content for
just doing a vlog. I did. So I went to 3 gyms, 3 affiliates in Ireland during the Open, like one each week. And then I was like, where would I go for a quarterfinal? So I'm going up to Emma McQuaid, who's in Ireland as well, for individual quarterfinals. And then I was kind of just stuck on team quarterfinals, because I was like, where the fuck would I go for that? And I was trying to think, like, where's nearby? Like Ireland, we'll have like maybe 1 or 2 teams, but not at that kind of semi-finals level. And then I thought of Oslo, and I was like, God, they had a shit ton of teams last year. They'll probably have a lot this year. It's a big gym. Like, you'd be interested to see what it's like. So I messaged Elvin, and he's like the affiliate manager. Messaged him because I kind of knew him from last year. And he said, yeah, absolutely. Like, come, no problem. And booked my flights, booked my accommodation. Came over, like got here yesterday. It's fucking huge. Like, it's insane. It's such a cool setup. Like, it's so good. But you can see, so like Elvin's like the manager of it, but you could see when he was walking around, showing me around, he was like picking up stuff, like twisting stuff so it was facing the right way. Like, he's very detail orientated, like bit of OCD, I'd say. But like, they did it today. They had this huge area upstairs, and then they have these like 2 bits downstairs. And one of them is usually for like corporate classes or mamas and papas or that kind of stuff, or on-ramping. And the other one is like an open gym. So what they did is, during team quarterfinals, all the CrossFit classes have moved down into the kind of corporate zone, so it doesn't actually affect any classes, which is great. And the upstairs area is just so large. And they have, I think, 8 teams, and they were all there today. They were all doing, most of them did, I think all of them did the dumbbell workout, and then 1 or 2 of them did the rowing workout as well, because they think they might have to repeat 1 or 2 of them. But yeah, I met like Kristen, Joachim, then the teams. He's Swedish as well, the teams, and who else is there? Andrea Solberg was there, and Seher Kea was there. Was talking to them a bit, but yeah, it's cool. Like, they're very welcoming. Like, you know, it's an unbelievable facility. Like, Oslo's really lucky. to have that, like, because it's so vast and there's so many coaches, and yeah, it's just really good. I was watching, I actually don't know the girl's name, but I was watching a girl coach a class towards the end. And same, it was like 30 people, like they were doing, I think they were doing the chief, you know, like 3 power cleans, 6 push-ups, 9 air squats, whatever. But like she had a great command of the room, like everyone, it was just really well coached, really well ran. So they obviously, they, you know, educate their coaches very well in there too. Like they obviously care a lot. But yeah, no, it's crazy impressive. Like they have like fucking 700 and something members. Like it's crazy, like crazy.
So, yeah. Do you know how many CrossFit Mayhem have, like in Cookville?
I don't know, but I don't think it's that many. I know Louvre have like 1,000, but it's over like 3 different facilities. And I know like, I think most gyms in America have like, you know, like 400, 500 will be like, whoa, like that's pretty big. I can't imagine Mayhem have 700 plus. Like that's crazy numbers. Like maybe I'm wrong, but I don't know. That's the biggest number I've ever heard.
Yeah, it's CrossFit Oslo is big. I think it's one of the, it must be one of the biggest gyms and biggest, like with Kriget training as well, like one of the biggest programming in Europe, at least. Yeah. I
also just realized I left my fucking water bottle there. So if anyone is a member there, you can have a free Yeti because I'm not going back to collect it in the morning. It won't be open.
Are you there to like make some kind of behind the scenes or some kind of
basically just a vlog for YouTube? Like I've been doing the podcast about 4 years, and about, I think it was like Wadapalooza last year, I realized that it's fucking impossible to bring a podcast somewhere because nobody gives a shit. Like you could go, if you're where there's people and you're asking, hey, can you stop and stand still and listen to us talk for an hour? Most people just be like, fuck off. And if you ask a coach or an athlete, hey, can I have an hour of your time and will you sit down here and talk to me? Most of them are so busy. So then I was like, right, well, I kind of know the people now, so why don't I just see if I can get access? And then like, it's a lot easier to walk up to someone and be like, hey, have you thought about blah, blah, blah? And then if I get 10 seconds off that person, and if I do that 6 times with 6 different people, that's a minute of content. And if I do it, you know, like it's just so easy to fill 15, 20 minutes, and it's digestible, and you keep people's attention and stuff, and you can vary it. Like you can, with some people, you can be funny, you can be serious, you can be whatever, you can have repeating jokes, you can have repeating like themes or whatever. Usually just kind of walk around, chat to people, see what shakes out. And then usually about halfway through, I'm like, oh, that's been a recurring theme. I'll just stick with that because that's come up multiple times. Or like, you know, I've seen that person say something off camera. I'll go and ask them and see if they'll talk about it on camera. And it's just been much easier to kind of package and like to move around. Like if I just need to bring this with me, as opposed to like a fucking mic and whatever else, or stressing about equipment belonging to someone else when I'm there or whatever. Like I still do it. I did a podcast in Wadapalooza in January, and it was shit because the audio was terrible and like system kept failing and stuff. And had I just been doing the podcast, I would have been really stressed over it. But I was like, fuck it. Like I've fulfilled my obligation. I had a bit of fun myself, and now I can go and do this other thing. So yeah, Oslo will be a vlog. Fuck knows when it's going to be out. Hopefully this week.
I mean, you're a busy man, so I guess an editing is not. I've just started dibbling around with editing videos, and it's pretty hard. It's pretty tough.
You get kind of systems with it and stuff, but it is just like, it's the type of thing that's really time consuming without realizing that it is. So you, like I've often said to my wife, oh, I just need to edit this video. I'll be finished in 5 minutes. And I could feel like it's 5 minutes, and she'll say like, you know, you've been doing that for an hour. So it's just, you kind of just get like zoned in, and you know, it can be like even making a reel, you know, like a reel from a clip from a show with like captions and stuff just takes so long. You try and block off time to do stuff, but like most of the time I end up doing it in my car at work like when it's lunchtime or like after school when the kids go home or whatever. So I'm hoping though next year now I'll be able to dedicate more time to that and get better at it. And, you know, like, because I'll actually have structure to, like, now it's 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. and I'm kind of excited to see what I can do 9 p.m. to 3 p.m. when I just have like a block of time that I can just do this with and not, you know, be interrupted and like have to go to work or have to go do the shopping or have to like fucking hang out a wash or whatever, or have my son come over and start like fist pounding the laptop or whatever, to actually be able to do stuff like.
Yeah. How long does I've seen these like I enjoy them quite a lot because they're funny and they sort of also point at the truth a lot. These your news reels, they're pretty funny. Like, how long does it take for you to do one of these?
So I try and do those. I try and do those once a week. I just thought of one of the stories I'm using this week. I try to do one of those once a week, and it's funny because it usually rolls around. So I have like one of my friends. I'll send him. So I have like two friends that I kind of run ideas past. One of them, I'll send him a message saying like, have you got anything like fake news worthy? Because I'll be like, shit, I haven't done that in like 5 or 6 days. And I get kind of, you know, like a panic of like, fuck, nothing's happened. Like nobody's said anything stupid. Nobody's done anything stupid. Like, what am I going to do? So I usually send him a message saying like, anything, like, you know, like, have you got any drugs? Like any kind of stories. And then by the time he's replied, I've usually thought of 2 or 3. So then I kind of bounce ideas off him. And then one of my other friends, I'll send him like the script basically of like, you know, whatever, like, I'm trying to think, what the fuck did I do last week? I talked about Lauren Khalil not being in the opening credits for Talking Leaf Fitness, even though she's worked there for like 2 fucking years. So I typed out like what I'll say, and then in brackets afterwards I'll put show opening credits of Talking Leaf Fitness, close brackets, and I'll write all that out and I'll send it to him. And then usually I try to record it before he replies, because if he replies and says, I'm not sure about that one or whatever, it'll put me off. You just kind of lose, you kind of wobble a bit and you lose your flow a bit. So I'll record it, then he'll message back saying, yeah, that's funny, or like, you know, that one's good, or, you know, number 2 and number 3 are brilliant or whatever. And then the slowest part for that is editing it together. So recording it takes like 3 minutes, but then actually editing, like finding a screenshot, finding a photo, finding a video, like screen recording it, sending it to myself, editing it in, like timing it right, that kind of stuff, that takes time. So for that like 90 seconds of content, it's probably like 40 minutes to get it. Like, probably 40 minutes of like working time plus like 4 hours of worrying that I don't have something, and like scrolling trying to find someone doing something or saying something. And then by the time I make it, I'm like, I can't believe I thought there was nothing to talk about. There's so much stupid shit to cover. And then I'll have the same panic next week. I'll be like, fuck, what am I going to talk about? Nothing's happened. And then it just repeats itself.
Yeah. I like those. I appreciate them.
It's an unbelievable like creative outlet to just try and be funny, try and like, you know, I basically, if I find it funny and if it entertains me, I do it. And then luckily it entertains some other people, or other people kind of find it funny. But it's funny as well, like some people get really pissed off at it, or, you know, like annoyed about it. And it's like you said it, like you did the thing, or you said the thing. I just picked up on it, or I made a joke out of it, or whatever. But I think, I don't know, like a lot of people get kind of sensitive, like they don't like being seen as the butt of the joke, even though that's not what it is. Like, I'll always remember Kelsey Keel did the qualifier for Wadapalooza and like finished outside the qualifying spots. And the day it was announced that she finished outside the qualifying spots, she announced that she was going individual for the season. And I was like, fucking hell, like you can't make that up. That, like, she announced she's going individual and she doesn't even qualify for Wadapalooza. She only, I think she didn't even qualify in the RX spots, or she just about did. And I kind of made a joke out of it, and like she commented straight away and was like laughing and was like, I guess I just got to get fitter, and she put in her story and was laughing at it. Like that's, I would think, the normal reaction. But then some people, like, I've been called a bully, like I've been called, you know, like I've been blocked. Like some people just can't, they just think anything that isn't praise is cutthroat criticism and like is negativity, and they think that anything that isn't negative has to be positive then. So if you say to someone like if I say to you, hey, Andreas, your podcast is the best podcast available at all in the CrossFit space, like that's a lie. Like, you know, it's a lie, and I know it's a lie. Like mine isn't the best, yours isn't the best, like there's better than most of us. But if I was to say that to you, some people would say like, oh, that's such a positive thing to say. But it's like, no, it's not. It's a fucking negative thing to say. Like, you're lying to the person, saying that they're killing it, or saying that they're crushing it, or that they're inspiration or whatever. And it's like, no, like they need to work harder, they need to get better, like they need to hone their craft. And if you say to someone like, oh, you're unbelievable, you're so good, you're brilliant, like false praise is just as harmful as just like vapid criticism. Like it can be just as negative. But there's a lot of that around where like you just have to be positive all the time, and you're not allowed to say like, oh, I'm not sure if that's a good idea, or like, oh, that didn't turn out very well, or oh, maybe you could do that better, or oh, this wasn't very good. People are just like, oh, how dare you, you know, like fingers in their ears and like seeing it as just negativity. I don't know, it's strange, like it's frustrating.
I think we need to I think when you actually start to not say lies just to be nice all the time, I think you start to, like, if people actually listen and people actually get like join the whole spiel, so to say, like join the whole part of it, and actually accept that, oh, maybe I'm not the best podcast in the world in the CrossFit space. I need to get better to become the best if I want to become the best. So that way we teach each other not to talk within lies, and to actually evolve. I mean, we are super good at that when it comes to training.
Like, that's the thing. It's like there's that thing of like, you know, like rising tides raise all ships or whatever, and it's like, but like that's only if everybody's improving, not just patting each other on the back and saying, hey, you're brilliant, no, you're the best, no, you're the best. Like, it's just vapid bullshit. Like, and eventually you would assume, or maybe even hope, that like that kind of shit gets found out, and that it's like, oh, it's actually maybe not good enough just to say I work really hard if you don't, or like, you know, your product or your, you know, content or your like ability is amazing if it's not. Like, it's just as damaging. Like, even I get it sometimes with my kids, where my daughter will like draw a picture and show it to me, and I'm in two minds of like, do I tell her it's shit? Do I pretend it's amazing? Like, and I'm still at the pretend it's amazing stage, but I know a time will come where I'll be like, you've done better. Like, you know, like it's good. It is good, but like, you've done better. Maybe if you did this or whatever. Like, that's the way I am with my kids in school. I'll say like, hey, this is really good. Like, your handwriting is a bit wobbly here in the middle. Like, maybe next time you can do whatever. And like, there are some kids in the class that like will fucking sulk for an hour afterwards because they've been told something negative, because they just don't see the difference between like constructive criticism and just criticism. And I think people who get pissed off at something like something as fucking inane as fake news, or like if you get pissed off at a Hiller video or something that Savan says or whatever, like if you're holding it to that sort of biblical truth, then you need to maybe look at yourself. Like, why am I getting so upset by this? Like, is it because it's true? Is it because I've never been told this before? Is it because I don't like being held to a certain standard? You know, I think before you start calling other people bullies or saying that other people are negative, maybe that's something you might want to consider.
Yeah. And also, when you actually come with criticism, you have to know that, okay, I'm criticizing here because there is a logic behind my criticism
Yeah.
as well, I think. So you just don't go and say that the picture is ugly or it's not good enough, or the podcast is not good enough, just to say, and don't have a reason why.
I will say though, I have been known to just be a prick to people in fake news. So sometimes I put a story in because I want that person to be looked at, as in like somebody's doing something fun or something interesting that I think people should go and look at, and it's my way of promoting them subtly.
Yeah.
Sometimes I put people in because of that, like you're saying, like, oh, that person maybe needs their wings clipped a little bit to be reminded that like that's probably not the best thing to do or whatever, or they're being a bit disingenuous. Sometimes I put people in just because they're being a bit of a prick and they deserve just to be smacked a little bit and be like, hey, like that's not okay to do that. So it's not always criticism with, you know, advice. Sometimes it's just like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, Jacob here, he agrees. We need more pricks in CrossFit.
Yeah.
And actually, speaking a little bit on what he's saying, I would actually want to ask you a bit about the way CrossFit as a company is moving. I've had this question written down, and I think you've got it before on some podcasts, but and you talked about it yourself, I think. But basically, where do you think CrossFit is at the moment? What's the health of CrossFit as a company?
It's kind of hard to get a clear picture because you never really get a clear answer. Like when you ask, or when you hear someone being asked questions, like you never really, you hear kind of, oh, we have goals and we want to do this and we're doing more of this and we're doing more of that. But it's like, yeah, but what's actually the story? Like, are we healthy? Are we not healthy? Is it good? Is it not good? I think I get the impression things are like reasonably okay. I think the games, like the sports side of things, you know, it's more inclusive than it has been in other years. And then there's two sides to that. Some people are a bit pissed off because they're like, well, it's not supposed to be inclusive. Like it's supposed to be forging elite fitness, not like forging everyday fitness. But from the like purely the business side of things, that's probably a positive because they're getting more money coming in because more people are registering and stuff. Then moving to Texas, like as far as I understand it, Texas paid them to come, so they paid the cost of the venue and stuff. So that's positive. I mean, they're saving, has to be a decent chunk of change there. You would like, it is hard not to worry when you see companies that were like investing so heavily just like disappear, like Noble and stuff, and you're kind of like, shit, like, you know, are they struggling or are we struggling or are we all struggling? You know, like that's where you get kind of nervy. I don't know, like Don comes across really well. He speaks really well. He speaks quite candidly, like more candidly than most CEOs, I think. Like, you know, like just in other companies and stuff. I really like that they brought Dave back. I don't know. I do kind of worry that it's being watered down a little bit and that they're kind of, you know, in their desperation to get more people involved. I worry that they're going to change what CrossFit is, or that they're going to alter it beyond recognition. That, like, you know, we've gone from the days of like whatever, 7s becoming 9s or 7s becoming 10s, and like, you know, forging elite fitness and, you know, pukey and all those kind of days. We've gone away from those kind of days, and now I worry, like, is the next step that it's like less intensity? Like, are they going to change at its core what it is in order to reach more people? Like, in order to, like, I don't know, position themselves in the market highly enough so that more people want to do it. But like what they're really going against is like the global gym model. And the global gym model is based on, you know, there's a global gym right next door to CrossFit Oslo, and their model is based on people buying memberships and not turning up, but forgetting they have memberships. And like, if that's what you want, like if you just want money, like that's the model to go for. But it's like, you would hope that there's enough you know, like OG people left around CrossFit that are saying like, no, man, like that's not what we're about. Like, it's interesting. Like I know like it's probably kind of a non-answer, but I guess in the next 12 months, everything will be a lot clearer. When there's more, like a few more roundtables, they have a lot of lofty goals, like this 30 million CrossFitters thing. I mean, I don't know how you quantify it. I don't know how you measure it. I don't know how you know that that's what's happening or not. But DeCoons seems like passionate about what he's doing, he comes across better than I thought he would when I first like heard from him or whatever. So that's good.
He had a rough start.
Yeah, but to be honest, it's funny, like making it through that, I gained a shit ton of respect for him, that he stuck around and that he like fought through it. And like I know him and Daniel Shafi and Don went on like an affiliate tour around Asia and stuff, so that's cool.
I mean, I think DeCoon said something about we want to keep our 13,000 affiliates and still make it to 30 million CrossFitters. Oh well, yeah. I think Hiller put out some kind of video about that recently, and
yeah, but it's even just like Don said that originally, like 30 million, and then but his 30 million, it sounded like was like he was like, oh, we want someone at every table that does CrossFit. It's like, what do you mean does CrossFit though? Do you mean like is a member of an affiliate, or do you mean like me, who like trains at home but follows CrossFit style programming and like, you know, has a finger of the pulse of what CrossFit is? Or do you mean like no, like in like boots on the ground in an affiliate? Like that's the clear thing that needs to be said, because if it's 30 million people, like including me, that's probably doable. If it's 30 million people in affiliates, where the fuck are they going to go? Like, if there's only 13,000, it's like, how many are you going to fit in each affiliate? You know, it's just not feasible.
No. Not, at least not if we want to keep the model that is more OG, so to say, like affiliates with 100 to 400 members. I think we need a lot of affiliates then. To make it to 30 million.
Agreed.
Yeah. How do you think the sport of CrossFit is panning out, so to say? I mean, from last year to this year, we've seen that we have increased the amount of people qualifying to quarterfinals individually. And we've also seen they cut down the amount of people qualifying from quarterfinals to semifinals, from 60 in Europe and North America to 40 people. And we've also seen that they have included more spots for the more, so to say, weaker regions. So everyone gets 40 people to the semifinals. And what are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, I mean, like no disrespect, actually fuck it, full disrespect to like the weaker regions, like they don't need that many spots. Like it's not, if the aim is okay, we want more spots in Africa, and the reason we want more spots in Africa is because we want to encourage more people who are at that kind of bubble stage to work harder, try harder, go maybe more all in, and you know, like push on, etc. Then like, yeah, fine. But I don't think that is why they're doing it. I think they're doing it to be like fucking fair. Like fair is they're not good enough, and a very small percentage of the people who make it to that semi-final would make it to a semi-final in another region, never mind through a semi-final. They're just not there. Like, I mean, Asia will eventually in time be a strong region or a stronger region. Like South Korea had the highest percentage of top RX scores in 2 of the 3 open workouts, and they came second in the other one. So like Asia is like densely populated. They're getting into it. There's a reason that they went on that affiliate tour in Asia. Like that's not a coincidence. So like they have their finger on the pulse. They know what's happening. But like cutting the field down to 40 is rough for Europe. Part of me wonders, did they do it because they were farming out the semi-finals to other companies, like to French Throwdown, etc., and they were like, oh, fucking hell, 60 is a lot, so maybe we'll just give them 40. Maybe that's easier. I also wonder, is it just, did they learn last year that it was too time consuming, too money consuming, too difficult to package an offer to, you know, like broadcast or whatever, when it was 60, like more heats or whatever. You know, I don't know. It's interesting. Like, I'd be interested to see what this year looks like. I'd be very interested to see after quarterfinals is finished who's missed out. Because if the programming, like for example, if there's like a max rep or a max lift in one of the workouts, and there's however many 1,000 people doing quarterfinals, there's going to be a fucking outlier somewhere in there, like some freak who can snatch like ridiculous weight, but can't jog 200 meters, and like they push everyone else down, and you could have a scenario where, you know, like Yellow Huste would have been outside the qualifying spots last year had there been 40, and if he had missed out, like that would have been such a shame for the whole season if he hadn't been there, didn't make it to Rogue, you know. And all it takes is one freak in this many 1,000 people doing quarterfinals to push that person down. Now, the argument is, if you're good enough, you'll make it through anyway, but it just makes the programming that much more important, that the programming has to be perfect then, which I would worry a little bit about when you see the team quarterfinals.
Yeah, I understand that. I mean, speaking of team quarterfinals, what are your thoughts?
I don't know. The teams themselves seem to enjoy the workouts. Like the ones here, anyway, seem to be like, like the the programming side of it is kind of like, all right. I mean, we did deadlifts, we did dumbbell snatches, like we did burpees.
Mm-hmm.
Could we maybe do something else? But even like Joachim was saying, like, hey, it's great that there's no rope climbs or GHDs, because we have this many teams doing the quarterfinals, and then maybe individuals doing the quarterfinals, and we have like whatever 4 or 5 ropes, like 3 GHDs, like fucking hell, like we're going to be here all week. So I understand it from that perspective. It is much easier on the affiliates, but it's hard. It's just difficult to see that side of it when it's also so important to the sport and so important to the season. That's the tricky thing, that it's hard to wrestle the two sides of like, oh, but it's less pressure on the affiliates, and it's, you know, it's less pressure with equipment and stuff. And then it's like, yeah, but you still have to find the fittest people to go. But yeah, you'd hope the cream will rise to the top either way.
Yeah. I think we will, this is my thought, I think we will see like a pretty big gap between the top 10 teams this year in Europe, at least. And then a gap down, and basically the bottom 20 of the 30 going to the semifinals will just be a big nest of whatever. I think the top teams will be separating themselves during the quarterfinals already, and then even more in the semifinals, I think. It's a thought I have. And we will probably see a lot of Krieger teams there. I
think they're confident of like 4, maybe 5 of the 8. Just depends on other teams and how the workouts go and stuff. I think they've got like 3 like that will be very pissed off if they don't qualify, and then they've got 2 that's kind of like, oh, it depends, like how things go and stuff.
All right. Sounds. It's gonna be interesting to see. Really interesting. We had a question here before from Jakob as well. He has a lot of questions, and I also wrote the same one down. But basically, when you talked about maybe having more time on your hands, and will you be doing more content around the Europe CrossFit ecosystem? And what's the future like?
It's kind of hard to go too far ahead. Kind of what I've started doing so far is start the podcast, and then when I felt like things were starting to stagnate, as in where like, just you get a bit restless or whatever, I started something different. So that was like the vlog. And then when that started happening again, it was like, oh, I'll do the fake news. And then I have another idea. I won't talk about it in case it doesn't work out, but I have another idea in the next couple of weeks that I'm going to start. And that would be more kind of global. But yeah, covering Europe is tricky, like, because so what I try to do when I have an episode, when I have like a guest on, what I try to do is I try to have like a big guest, like large following, and then someone that I think deserves more attention after them, so that hopefully people who come for the big guest stick around or come back or whatever for the next person. But what I've noticed is basically all of Europe falls into that category because it's an incredibly American-centric sport.
Yeah.
And Europeans like ask for more coverage. Europeans and masters are kind of the same. They ask for more coverage. And then when it's given, like nobody watches it. So it's like, where the fuck are all the people? Where the fuck are all the people going that are asking for this all the time? And then when it's there, they're like, I don't care. But yeah, I do try to vary it as much as I can. Have like Europeans on, Americans on. I try to vary it by like big name, smaller name, or like more famous, less famous. It doesn't always work out that way because just scheduling and stuff, but that's what I try to do, is like have it going up and down. And yeah, I think one thing I do want to do is I do want to visit more affiliates in Europe. I'm kind of starting to curate a bit of a list of like, oh shit, I'd love to go to that gym. And I'm trying to avoid falling into the trap of like, I'd love to go to Paris and just go into like on a holiday. So I think what I might do when I get from September onwards, what I might start doing is trying to find places that are actually within a day's travel. So like literally try to be home before my kids are home from school. That'd be my aim, like to go like, fly out of Dublin at 9 a.m., land in like Swansea at 10 a.m., go to 179 for like 3 hours, fly back, be home by 2 p.m., 3 p.m. I don't know how realistic that is, but it's just going to be hard with 3 kids to go anywhere far, basically.
Yeah, I see. How do you like? But that sounds pretty interesting, though. Like trying to capture Europe in a way by visiting affiliates. Because I think affiliates are a little bit different in the way we are running them here than in America.
Yeah,
from what we mostly see on YouTube and other podcasts and what they talk about. But yeah, that would be interesting to watch. I think, at least. So
I'll do it just for you.
Yes, thank you so much. Just travel for a whole day and visit an affiliate for me.
Yeah.
You'll have one view at least, I think. I like to look and learn more about how other affiliates are running their classes, running their just company. Overall. Are you going to Lyon?
No, the baby is due like 5 days before or something. I remember when they released the dates, I screenshot and sent it to my wife, and she just replied, "Absolutely not." So I think that's where the line was drawn.
All right.
I fly booked to Texas though, so I'll be in Texas.
Oh, right. Nice. Yeah, I'm going to Lyon, but I don't think I can afford Texas right now.
Yeah, it's tricky.
Yeah, it's tricky. How do you like? speaking of money, so to say, but how do you work with sponsors and stuff like that? I've seen you have some sponsors on your shows, and you've done the behind the whiteboard thing and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
So that debate show, that was another like diversified thing where I was like, oh, I need to change something. I need to do something different. So started doing that, called it Around the Whiteboard, and then Beyond the Whiteboard, the guy that owns Beyond the Whiteboard messaged me and was like, hey, like this is the guy that owns Beyond the Whiteboard. And my initial reaction was like, bullshit. Like, no, it's not. And then I checked his profile and I was like, oh shit, it actually is. And then my next reaction was, fuck, I bet it's copyrighted. I bet I'm not supposed to say something, like preposition word, the whiteboard. I bet they've like copyrighted all of them or something. So it turned out he was like, yeah, I mean, you probably can't, but it's fine. We don't mind. He was like, oh, I really like the idea, like really like the concept, listened to the first show, thought it was really fun. We'd like to sponsor it. So I was like, okay. So that was cool. So they sponsored that. Then they wanted to sponsor like the regular show as well. Like Mo that runs Beyond the Whiteboard is like, he's incredibly supportive, and he's like full of praise for what I'm doing, and like he, you know, sees what I'm trying to do and trying to achieve, and he's like, I really like it. I really want to like help and support. So he's like been like a major financial support. Thibaut at GoWad, same thing. Like, you know, everybody knows what GoWad is. Like, he doesn't need to sponsor the show, but he wants to. And then those guys on like Frog Grips, Whoop, they all sponsor it. Sentinel as well, like Taylor's training program, and LSKD. So they all sponsor it, like say financially. And what that does is largely gives me an opportunity to do stuff like this, to like buy stuff like this, upgrade my laptop, whatever. At the minute now, I'm building like a garage kind of shed out the back, and I'm going to move my home gym and like put like a studio out there or whatever. And then that will make it easier to literally just zone in and focus on what I'm doing, and hopefully increase the you know, output, both quality and quantity of output. So largely any of the ones that are financially supportive, to be totally honest, it's not like I don't have like 10 grand sitting in the bank from doing this. It's literally like money comes in and then it goes straight back out on something else. So it's like, oh, I know there's money coming in next month. I'm going to use that to buy whatever piece of equipment I need for like a hard drive or a lens or whatever.
Quality.
And then D8 is like a fitness equipment company, a store in Dublin. So they sponsor the show, and the reason I got them involved, I like the owner, he's an affiliate owner and stuff. The reason I got him involved is because I really wanted a bike erg, because my wife was pregnant and I knew she wouldn't be able to use like the assault bike or that for a while. So I asked him to sponsor the show, and he was like, sure, like what would you have in mind? I was like, Concept 2 bike, please. So he sponsors the show with that, which is great. So yeah, that's always looking for like partners and stuff. But it's interesting because like, I don't know, I have had like one or two inquiries from companies that I'm like, yeah, I just don't really like what you do, or I wouldn't say that to them, but I just be like, I don't use your product. Or I've had one or two say like, hey, we want to sponsor the show. You know, we can give you this much a month. And I say, okay, cool. Can I try out the whatever, like the ice bath, you know, no one's ever offered me an ice bath, but like, that's just a hypothetical. And then it's like, oh, we can't actually ship to your country. And I'm like, I don't want it then. Like, if I can't try it out, like, I'm not going to tell people like, hey, buy this thing because they're paying me to. I want to say, hey, buy this thing because I use it and I like it. Like, mostly, okay, like this is Vindicate because I really like Vindicate and I really like CrossFit Crash. But like, mostly I wear LSKD. My t-shirt is LSKD. My tracksuit bottoms are LSKD. Most things in my bag are LSKD. My bag is LSKD. Most, like, I haven't, to my knowledge, I don't think I've taken off my Whoop in like 4 years. Like, if I'm doing a workout with like gymnastics in it, which is fucking rare, I'd use frog grips. If I track a workout that isn't on Sentinel, I use Beyond the Whiteboard. You know, like there's no disingenuous nature to any of the people that I work with, because I get pissed off when I see that. Like,
I think,
like when was the last time you saw a rain athlete drinking rain? Like actually swallowing,
No.
surrounded by a can, sure. With a can in their hand, sure. Like sitting, there's that infamous video from Wadapalooza last year where Noah Olsen is holding a can of rain. It's not even fucking open. Like there's, I don't know if I've ever seen a rain athlete actually consume the liquid that's inside the can. And that makes me fucking hate rain. Like I never buy a can of rain because of that reason. Whereas I see Hiller drink C4 all the fucking time. I went and bought a C4 today. We were passing a supplement shop and I saw C4 pre-workout. And I said, I'm going to go in there and see if they have the actual drink, because I haven't had one in a while. I want one. So yeah, being genuine is important.
I actually bought a C4 at a, I think it was at Heathrow this Christmas because of Hiller, because I've never tried the C4 before. And I
will say though, C4 in Europe is shit compared to America, because America has beta alanine, so your skin goes all tingly. But the European one, they're not allowed to put it in or something, I think.
You get a third lung.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have any dream sponsors? Like, is there anything you basically use all the time that you would like to sponsor?
I mean, like Rogue would be cool. I use their stuff. C4 would actually be cool because it'd be nice to just have it in the house all the time, although maybe potentially dangerous as well. Dream sponsor, like I use fucking Apple products. Does that count? Like Apple or Rogue? Outside that, like Rad sponsored the show before. They between Rad and GoRuck, they're my favorite shoes. And like Rad maybe edge them out on style. So like, I mean, I've worn Rad for the last 3 years, basically nothing else. And that's when they sponsored the show. I was buying my own shoes because I wasn't really sent that much stuff, like sent some once every so often. But like I was buying my own shoes through like fake addresses to get them from the UK into Europe and stuff. Like I really like Rad shoes, so that could be an interesting one. So like Apple, Rogue, Rad, they'd be my three.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Let's hope I don't think they're watching this one, but let's hope at least.
I'll send it to them. It's fine.
Yeah, nice. I got a question about like how do you say, like your own fitness, basically. About your CrossFit journey, so to say.
Yeah.
I listened to a podcast. You talked about you starting at, I think the affiliate you still is at right now in Ireland, and you basically was one of the first members there.
Yeah, I moved home from, like, I was like studying teaching in Dublin. And I really wish I had that fucking water bottle because I'm thirsty. I'll eat a grape. That might help. Made it worse. I studied teaching in Dublin and moved home with my wife, and we weren't married at the time. And found a gym, and it was like a kind of global gym, and they wanted like 4 months up front or something. And I was like, fuck that. Like, I want to see what it's like first. Found another gym, went to it. I was like, haven't heard of this place before. Went in, and it was like the owner, Joe, was standing behind the counter. And I said, oh, we're looking to join. I said, do you do like open gym? He said, no, we just do classes. And straight away I thought of like spin classes. And I was like, fuck that, I'm not doing that. Or like, those little barbell pump things. I was like, no interest in doing that. And he was like, oh, like, come in and see what you think. And if you don't like it, like, fine, we can talk about open gym. We can figure something out. But like, see what you think. And I said, cool, what time is it on? And he said, oh, we're not actually open yet. Like, we don't open until tomorrow officially. So he was like, come back tomorrow, blah, blah. But they might have been doing like a fake class that evening, maybe. I'm not sure. Went back and it was like HIT. And it was like Tabata style, like wall balls, then kettlebell swings, then push-ups, then sit-ups, and then goblet squats or something, I think. Like, I vividly remember the workout. We were on the AstroTurf. Like, there's like a strip of red and blue Astro, and we were there like moving forward, and then you go back to the start and move forward again.
Yeah.
And did that, and I was like, fuck, that was really fun. Like, I really liked that, and I had never done it like something like that before. So then we gradually like joined, went more and more and more and more, and then we were there like twice a day, and then we were there like, you'd end up, your class would be at 6 p.m. and you go at 5 p.m. and you wouldn't leave until 8 p.m. And then terminology started getting introduced. Like, instead of Tabata style workout, it was AMRAP, and then it was like imam, and then it was like, clean and jerk and toes to bar and pull-ups, all this kind of stuff. And then it was like, hey, there's this like online competition that we're thinking of doing. It's called the Open, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, like, what's that like? It's like, oh, you do the Open. Yeah, I was like, oh, you do the Open, then you do regionals, and then you go to the games. And I was like, what's the games? And he said, oh, there's like some stuff on Netflix. So I went home and I was like, fucking hell, I love this. Like, this is unbelievable. Like, it's what I'm doing, but it's people who are actually good at it, like doing it. So I got completely.
What year was this?
That was, I think like 2015 or 2016, I think. So it was the 2014 or the 2015 documentary, one or the other. I'm not sure. And then just got fucking obsessed with it. We went to regionals, the last regionals in Berlin, went to the games the next year, then like COVID, lockdown, all that bullshit. And then since then, like, I'm not actually a member there anymore just because of like kids, time, like work, whatever. So now I just purely follow Taylor's programming.
You also do the burpee, 100 burpees a day, right?
Yeah, started doing that in January. So on New Year's Eve, I did a question and answer thing on Instagram, and JR said 100 burpees a day for 2024 ? And I said, yes, okay. And I instantly fucking regretted it. And I regretted it for the whole month of January and for half of February. And now I no longer regret it. It was, that first month and a half was a fucking slog, and it was torturous, and it was like filled me with dread thinking about doing it. But now it's like, if you said, oh, you have to do 100 right now, I'd be like, all right, okay, I'll just do it. So like the mental and physical change there has been cool. It's also really good for adherence, because like sometimes I'd be like, oh, I really want to get an ice cream, and then my brain will say like, dude, you just did 100 burpees, like that'd be such a waste. Or conversely would say like, hey, you have to do 100 burpees later on, and you really want to do that after you eat a fucking ice cream. It's good for adherence. And yeah,
what do you say about this? Should I join you?
Yeah, why not, man? What am I on? 90. I've done
I'll do it. I'll join
9,600 so far.
Oh, yeah. So I'm a bit behind then.
Yeah, no, you can just start from now. It's fine. A few people have like, I've actually got messages of people saying like, oh, I started and I couldn't do a week, or I started and I quit. I tried to do a month and I quit. And it's honestly, the first month and a half is shit, like really shit, and you hate it, and then it just becomes totally fine.
Did you start with the 100 burpees for time the first time, or
no? I did. I wish I did. It would have been fucking slow. I wish I did. I think the first few times I just did like a random 100, but I was like, I do like 10, and then I'd stand there for fucking 2 minutes, and then I'd do 10 more, and then I'd just curse JR and hate myself, and then I do 10 more. I did 100 for time. I probably should have written some of these down. I did 100 for time a while ago, and it was like 8 minutes something, and then I did it like a few days later, and it was like 6 minutes something because I just was able to just push harder. And now mostly now what I do is I try and either substitute a movement. So like Sentinel the other day was 40 calorie bike, 600 meter run, 40 calorie bike, and I asked Taylor like, hey, what's a good sub of burpees there? And he was like, oh, somewhere between 35 and 45. So I split the difference, just did 40. So like I did that in that workout. Then today, I just did like one actually really good one is my favorite one. I just say Jakob asking there, like what variation is easiest. I generally just do normal burpees. Sometimes I do overbox, sometimes I do pull-ups, sometimes I do devil's press, but generally it's just like straight burpees. And the best way to actually get them in is to do an 8-minute EMOM, and for the first 7 minutes you do 12, and then for the last minute you do 16. And it's just like it's over so quickly that you're like, oh, that was actually fine. And then sometimes I do like a 10-minute EMOM of 10. And then I remember one day I forgot. I was sick for 2 days, and then I think my daughter was sick for a day, and then I was like, fuck, I owe 400. Like, and I remember JR was saying, oh, just do 110 for the next 10 days, however many days. And I was like, oh, fuck that. Like, that's worse than just doing them all at once. So I did a 40-minute EMOM of 10 every minute. That was fucking horrible. Like, that was soul destroying. That was really bad.
Yeah, I can understand that.
But yeah, it's good though.
I'm impressed in so many ways, because you teach people that you don't really need any equipment to become fitter.
I will say it is far from constantly varied.
I guess, but it's at least some kind of movement. And some kind of.
I think as well, some people are like, oh, I want to move and I want to do like, oh, I need to increase my step count. And it's like 100 burpees is so much faster than 10,000 steps. Yeah.
And I think it's Hiller who said that to Athena. How do you say it? Yeah. Like do something hard. And that's a good way to do something hard every day. I think. I got a question here from Yuan, and we talked about you being a teacher, and I like this question actually. Do you feel like you have skills or experience that carry over to coaching or podcasting even? And how would you explain things like?
It's interesting. I actually spoke to someone. So after I did the level 1, I still am, but directly after I did it, I was so fucking amped. I was like, hook it to my veins. Like, I want to open an affiliate tomorrow. So I asked one of the guys about doing the level 2. I was like, am I better off doing the level 2 with no experience and therefore no bad habits and being shown what to do, like the perfect way to do it? Or am I better off like coaching, like learning how to do it and then going and do the level 1 and like fine tuning? And there's kind of two schools of thought. Some people were like, yeah, actually, that's probably not a bad idea. I actually messaged Carl Stedman, who's like he was the UK manager. He's like a level 4, like flow master, like OG. And he was like, he said that the one thing, he said it can be very hard to take criticism and it can be very hard to talk to a group when you haven't done it before, especially if you're coaching something. But then he said, although the fact that you're a teacher would probably make that a lot easier for you because you wouldn't be as like perturbed by it. So yeah, I definitely think I'd have no problem standing up in front of a group of people and saying like, like clap my hands and getting everyone's attention. Like wouldn't bother me. Like I'm not like timid or, shy because it's what I've done for like, 12 years teaching. Fuck, that's depressing that I've been teaching that long. And I'd have no problem. Like I wouldn't worry. I wouldn't be concerned about making a mistake in front of people or saying the wrong thing or writing the wrong thing. Like none of that stuff would bother me. So I wouldn't be self-conscious. I'd say like explaining things. Yeah, because I've had variations of kids in class, like some really weak, some really strong, some really like visual learners, some like, kinesthetic learners, some oral learners, like, and I guess the fact that I have that kind of understanding of like some coaches get into coaching and up until the point they start coaching, they don't know that those 3 types of learners exist. So like, I definitely have a leg up in that, like explanation is something that I probably have a strong suit in, especially explaining things that maybe I'm not perfect in myself. Like I'm shit at tables. I don't know what you guys call those. Like multiplications tables, where it's like 2 times 2 is 4, 2 times 3 is 6.
Yeah.
So on.
Yeah.
Like like rote learning of
tables,
whatever. Like I am shit at them, but I learn them in a different way where I kind of see patterns and stuff. So then when I'm explaining the way I learn it to kids, some of the kids are like, oh shit, yeah, I get it. And then the other kids, I'm like, look, it sucks to say this to you, but you literally just have to learn it. Like, so like I've historically, I was that kid standing up in class. Like we used to do a thing in school where they go around and ask all the different tables. And if you didn't get yours right, you had to stay standing. So if you got it right, you got to sit down. And I'd always be the guy standing up at the end, like shit, like I'm the dumbass that keeps getting them wrong. Whereas now I'm actually quite good at tables just through like trying to get myself to be good at them so that I can explain to the kids how to do them. So yeah, like I think the kind of pedagogy of education is there, which a lot of which transfers over into coaching. And I think probably the main thing would be not being self-conscious, not being worried, not needing to like find my style or like find my voice because I kind of have it already. Like I teach through humor, I teach through, like attention and, kind of varying things and keeping things different, and that you'd have to assume it transfer quite well into coaching.
Yeah, exactly. And also you were talking about it, the different kind of learning styles that people might have. And I think if you've taught a lot and if you've been in that kind of environment, I think you can notice what different people have when it comes to taking information and learning much faster than someone who hasn't. I like the question, and I think it will be interesting to follow whatever you do with your level 1 and whatever you continue to do when it comes to content and then everything like that. I told you we would go on for an hour, and it's been a little bit more than that. So I will try to end it here, and I would like to thank you, Pedro, for joining and for taking your time. And I hope to see you someday on some kind of CrossFit event.
Sounds good.
Maybe at the games or at a semi-final or something like that in the future.
Or an affiliate in Sweden.
Just send me a message if you want to know good affiliates in different towns and stuff like that. I got some information. I'll end the stream there. And as Jacob said, this has been great. I agree. I totally agree.
Appreciate it.
And I'll see you on the internet, I guess. Bye, everybody.